From the basement of the Hotpeds Guide to the Galaxy world headquarters located in northern Colorado, this is the Hotpeds Guide podcast. I'm Matt Reber.
I'm Brown Jake. Who sold more beer? Founders, Golden Road, Cigar City, or Oscar Blues? And are leprechauns real? We answer that question and more on this episode of the Hotpeds Guide podcast.
Hey there, Hotpeds and Beer Geeks. Welcome to another episode of the Hotpeds Guide podcast, brought to you by Beerds by Nick. With me, as always, is one stout fella, Jake the Brown Guy.
It is Stout Month, and
Yeah,
you need a stout fella for a Stout Month.
Happy Stout Month. We're celebrating by drinking a pale ale.
Yay! That was actually, I was thinking about that. I always thought February was Stout Month. I popped one open last night, and I actually had to drain pour it. I'm not going to say what beer it was, but I was very disappointed because it had floaties in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was a beer that I remember standing in line for. Got two of them.
Oh, no.
Drank one, was amazing. And I was like, you know what? I want to pop this other one open, and poured it. And as I was pouring it, it got right to the bottom, and a whole bunch of just... And, you know, if you're not really paying attention... You kind of take a quick look, and I'm like, whoa, what the hell was that? And all of a sudden, stuff started floating up to the top, and I'm like, what is that? And I was like, looked like hard plastic. I'm like, nope. And it just drained poured it. I didn't want to take a chance of what it was.
Oh, you didn't even, take a look to see exactly what it was?
I was like, yeah, it was not worth it.
So you don't know whether it was yeast or sediment?
It was, hard, though. You felt it. It felt really, really hard.
Was this an adjunct beer?
No. It was a barrel-aged beer. So I was pretty upset about it because I remember it was a pretty penny for the 16-ounce bottle. I think it was a 16-ounce or 12-ounce bottle that they put it in.
Oh, shit.
So I was like, oh, and it was a really good, the guy is known for making really good stouts. He has slowly started to evolve to sours. So,
I thought you were going to be vague.
Well, I know who he is. Now you know who he is. Can the listeners guess who he is?
That's too bad. That is too bad.
Yeah, I was, and you look, sometimes it really hits you hard when you look forward to a beer, especially when I had one from, another company in that same area. I spent a lot of money for it, and it was really, really infected. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, that sucks, dude. Well, I mean, at least you got to drink one of them, and it was delicious.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show you, not all beers should be aged.
Yeah.
I mean, just because it's a big barrel-aged stout doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to age well. Sometimes it's just not. Sometimes it's going to get sedimented.
Well, this one never actually made it to the cellar. It's been in the fridge since day one, since coming home. So that's why I got thrown off. I was like, yeah, if I put it in the cellar and then tried popping it open, half of that could be my fault. It doesn't mean that it's 100% the guy who made the beer. But this one went, I popped the first one. I really enjoyed it. I was like, you know what? I'm not cellaring this one. This one is not going to last that long. So I put it in the fridge, and it got kind of pushed to the back, so it got forgotten about, and then it slowly made its way back to the front.
Yeah. Well, with it being Stout Month, it's also Girl Scout cookie time.
Oh, yeah.
So all of the Girl Scout cookie pairing stuff is going to start happening, which I don't really care for.
I don't either.
I don't like cookies with my beer. Same reason why I don't like pastry stouts. And so
I don't like cookies with my beer, and I don't want my beer tasting like cookies.
I don't. I just really don't.
It is Stout Month, not Pastry Stout Month.
But it's going to become Pastry Stout Month because that's what everybody's going to be drinking because that's all there is right now. You can't get just a well-made stout anymore.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of tough. I mean, a lot of the new breweries that open up, they had their flagship, and, after a couple of years, they've noticed, our stout did really well, but when we added vanilla and caramel and made it taste like a cheesecake, everybody loved it, so let's keep doing that one, so.
Yeah. So I love Stout Month. I think Stout Month is it's perfect having the coldest month and Stout Month all right together.
Yeah.
but it just gets ruined for me with all of the pastry stouts. I mean, I do drink the occasional pastry stout, but I'm not crazy about them. Like I'm not like I'm never happy about it. I'm usually like, this is too sweet. It tastes too much like other things and not beer, and it I'm like, okay, this is good, but it pisses me off.
Yeah, like, oh, strawberry cheesecake. Yeah, it tastes like a strawberry cheesecake. You know what else tastes like a strawberry cheesecake? Strawberry cheesecake. You know what goes well with strawberry cheesecake? A nice, good, solid stout.
With no additives.
With nothing in it.
So, I don't know. It's just something that I get. I understand why breweries are doing it, but at the same time, I think they're going to end up pigeonholing the stout to where that's all people are going to want to drink, and they're not going to be able to appreciate if somebody comes in and makes a really fucking good stout.
Yeah. We're like, oh, this is our stout with what? Just ingredients? What do you want? Like, what does it taste like? A stout? Have you had one of those before? Are you talking like a Miller Lite?
Yeah.
No. Like a Guinness? Well, kind of.
Yeah. So I'm just, I don't want to see it go that direction to where that's all we are having made.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm with you. I love a good solid stout. It's actually amazing. It's this February is actually one in a long time that I am not just still slamming down IPAs.
yeah.
Last year, usually I switch with the weather and start going, to, bourbon barrel aged stout or a regular stout or getting a porter, heading for the dark beers. And last year, I still had to keep IPAs in the fridge going.
Yeah.
This year was actually, I think it's the polar vortex that came down. I think it came down at the right time. And it just it made me want to drink a stout.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you. I've been in the mood for stouts ever since late November. I've just constantly had at least one or two in the fridge. I've been going through the cellar and opening up bottles a little bit, and that darker beer is just really appealing to me right now, and I'm not sure why, but it fits. It's what I've been looking for. But I'm gonna keep drinking them.
Oh yeah.
As long as brewers keep making stouts, even if it's the occasional pastry stout, I will at least try it. I don't have to like it, and I'm reserving the right to bitch about it, but I'll still drink it.
I'm with you on that one. Sometimes you get one, and it may have been that childhood, candy bar that you've always loved and enjoyed, and they make a stout, based off of that.
Yeah.
Or a cereal, so you're like, yeah, I got to try that. And then sometimes you try it and you're like, oh, that's a big disappointment. And that tastes nothing like, Mr. Good Bar.
They're just crazy sweet and don't taste like anything.
Yeah, you can't call it Mr. Good Beer. No, it doesn't taste like a Mr. Good Bar.
Sometimes it just tastes like somebody just walked by and poured a cup of sugar in your beer.
Yeah. And
now you're stuck drinking it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'll get off my soapbox about that. Get out my soapbox about something else.
Okay. So I was reading this article that AB made the jump and fully purchased ratebeer.com.
I didn't realize that they didn't already fully purchase it.
They own part of it. They own 51%. They went fully purchased the rest of the 49%. So, and I don't know, it's kind of funny because I still see even when people found out that AB owned part of Rate Beer, there's this huge web, craft beer people boycott Rate Beer. But yeah, anytime you'd see a rate get out by someone like, oh, Rate Beer rated our beer at a 99.9,
Yeah, they had no problem.
Yeah, and craft beer bars still put, oh, it's rated 97.2 on Rate Beer, it's kind of funny now. I wonder if the full trend's going to happen or do anything else, or people are going, they already own 51%. Nothing really changed. Who cares, and just let it go on their way. Or are they going to be really upset when Bourbon County gets a 99.9, so.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that they went ahead and just bought it out. I mean, especially if they already had the controlling stake. And my guess is probably the owner of Rate Beer just decided, all right, well, I'm tired of not having any control, and
Yeah.
I just as well hand over the keys and let you do what you want with it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to change anything. I really don't think it's going to they're going to maliciously put out, bad ratings of beers. I think it's going to remain an open forum, but they're going to reap all of the advertising revenue.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
All
that's
that
what it really comes down to.
All those little corner ads that tell you to go dilly dilly and
Yeah. Yeah. And we don't put corn syrup in our beer.
yeah. Speaking of, dilly dilly but Super Bowl happened to be just last weekend.
Yeah, it was. It
was
was
probably,
so exciting.
yeah.
The game was just, oh my God. I was on the edge of my seat. Never.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of one of those yawners. I probably maybe watched about 5 minutes of it. And I kept trying to switch over to watch the commercials. The one commercial that stood out, even though everybody's saying it's a Bud Light commercial, but technically it was a Game of Thrones commercial, was to start off as a Bud Light commercial. And
that was one of the best commercials, I thought.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I was just like when he goes, the Bud Knight fell over and the mountain shows up and you're like, oh, and then you remember Game of Thrones is coming back in April. Now I need to drink Bud Light. It's like, oh yeah. So yeah. I thought that was a creative piece, even though it was, big beer, but I thought that was actually really well played.
Yeah, I thought it was probably one of the best commercials. The commercials really weren't that great this year. I mean,
yeah.
That was the only thing that kept me entertained was waiting for the next commercial break so that I could see what the next commercial was, and none of them were really that exciting.
Yeah,
all of them were, I think, they've leaned towards trying to tug at your heartstrings, and they have all these little cutesy messages to them now, and it's just not. It's not fun.
Yeah, when they used to have little funny jokes or something like that. Or,
yeah. I missed the frogs. Those Budweiser commercials with the frogs were good.
Were freaking so simple, but they're hilarious.
Yeah.
Or the What's Up guys, as
Yeah.
So maybe they should bring them all back for just one big commercial. And just evolution through the thing, and then this Clydesdales come in and just kill them all.
Well, Budweiser clearly forked out a lot of cash because they were probably 85% of the commercials, and of course, everybody knows that their focus seemed to be around attacking beers with corn syrup in them. And it backfired on them, for one, because craft brewers and beer lovers were kind of saw it as a joke of, really, that's the best you have is you don't use corn syrup? Well, neither do we.
Yeah.
And then you add on top of that the fact that they pissed off the corn farmers.
Oh yeah.
And now the corn farmers are basically trying to boycott Bud Light, and corn farmers were probably some of their biggest supporters.
I know, that was probably all they drank.
Yeah. And today they actually recanted on their commercial. They came out and said, "Oh, it was meant to be a joke. We weren't saying anything bad about corn syrup, and it was just meant to be a joke towards our competitors." Well, it was clear that it wasn't, mainly because not only are they putting nutritional facts on their packaging, but then they rounded up one and say, "Well, we don't use corn syrup," which people are very conscious about right now. So you can't tell me that was a haha, elbow jab, hey, haha, buddy, you use corn syrup, because it clearly wasn't.
Yeah.
And so
I see where you're going. It's the millennial marketing group that they probably have working for them, so they can that everybody's a robot until you drink a Michelob Light, So
yeah, exactly.
When I watched that commercial, I was like, what? Well, I don't run, so I'm not a robot.
Yeah.
And I also don't drink Michelob Light. So am I a robot?
Wait.
Commercials got me confused. Where are the Bud Frogs at? God damn it.
And one of the things that I thought really the craft brewers didn't have a whole lot of room to talk is because most craft brewers do use some form of corn syrup when they put dextrose in their beers.
Oh, yeah.
Which it's pretty common for IPAs and some of these like double IPAs and bigger beers to use dextrose.
Yeah.
So it's not like all of them are innocent.
Yeah. We don't do that.
Right. You don't use corn syrup, but you use some form of corn product by putting dextrose in your beer.
And we're not saying you shouldn't.
No, by no means.
We're just saying if you say you don't, you kind of do.
And by no means am I like, I'm not one to, I'm not reading the side of the label to see if it's in there because I really could give a shit about corn syrup or not. But
the only thing I look for is lactose. And fuck you guys who use it.
God damn it.
And don't put it on your can. You're like, oh, look at this. It's a nice creamy IPA. I'm going to try that. Oh, poopy later.
Yeah.
Yep, it had lactose in it. Can't stand it.
And if for those of you who may not know and may be wondering why corn syrup would even be in beer, it's mainly for the same reason that Budweiser puts rice in their beer.
Yeah.
It's simply to add some fermentables without adding a lot of body.
Yeah.
So it keeps the beer light and refreshing and crisp without adding and still gets their alcohol content up without having to add extra grains or extra malt. So it's fairly common in big beers.
Mm-hmm.
It's fairly common in craft beer as well, especially in some of the IPAs. So if it's something that you're confused about, just know that it's out there.
Yeah.
It's not something that is unique to just Coors and Miller.
Oh, yeah.
It's there.
Yeah. It's always around. It's watching you. But I'm with you on that. It was it was a boring ass Super Bowl.
Oh God, it was terrible.
God, it was probably. They actually put out the ratings of some of the worst ratings. I felt bad for the city of Atlanta. They have an amazing stadium, and I wish I wish they would have a Super Bowl that would cap off the stadium that they built for the Falcons. It's just too bad that didn't happen. And come to find out, if you don't know, there's a Chick-fil-A in that stadium.
Yeah.
That's closed on Sundays. So there's a lot of people posting that Chick-fil-A was open, but it was called Fries Up or something like that. It was a totally different restaurant. They converted it over so they could have that spot open for the Super Bowl, but they weren't serving anything that was Chick-fil-A. It was actually.
So wait, why would they put a Chick-fil-A in the stadium for a sport that's primarily played on Sunday?
I know, it's hilarious.
You would think that'd be like their one exception, be like, this is the only Chick-fil-A in the nation that is open on Sunday.
No, it's not.
So
that's a whole. But you got to think about it. Think if you're a football fan and someone goes, "Okay, your team's getting a brand new stadium." Yes, they're going to have the best reasonable. And I've heard they had like really great prices on beer and food and everything else.
yeah, they got a hot dog and beer deal. It's like $8 or something.
Yeah,
you get a hot dog and a beer for $8. I'm like, well, shit, yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Yes, and they're putting a Chick-fil-A. Awesome. Wait. Let me think about this, because most of the time I crave Chick-fil-A, it's on a Sunday, and I drive all the way over there.
Inevitably, it's on a Sunday.
And they're fucking closed. Even in the mall, that's open every day of the week. When they had it in the mall, it was closed on Sundays.
You know how many times I've been craving Chick-fil-A, and I pull up, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, it's dead, man. This is awesome.
Get right through
and
this
then
shit.
I'm like, oh crap, it's Sunday. Damn it.
And the one guy in the car goes, and as he drives by, fool. But yeah, it was kind of funny. People posting at the Super Bowl that they like, but everybody was saying it was like well-priced food. You know, the game, I don't know if people really go to the Super Bowl to watch the game. It's kind of, do you go for the event?
Right.
You know, it's kind of one of those things on my bucket list. Like, yeah, I'd love to go to an Eagles Super Bowl, but I would love to go just to a Super Bowl.
Just any Super Bowl, I'd be fine with.
Yeah.
It's just something I would like to experience.
Yeah.
For sure. And eventually it's going to make its way to Denver.
Yeah.
But I think it would be more fun to actually make it an experience where you go to the city. You go for the 3-4 days ahead of time to experience all the, all the excitement around it, and actually get to enjoy like the whole thing, the whole event.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's in a really great craft beer city.
That'd be the time to do it. I guess I need to start saving up money now, because like the average ticket price this year was like $1,400.
Yeah, which is usually it's down. It's usually $2,100. People are like, really? Who again? Again?
God.
He's still alive?
Who, Belichick or Brady?
Whatever.
They're interchangeable.
Like, which one do you think died first? I don't know. Both.
I expected it to be a much higher scoring
Oh,
game
yeah,
than it
dude.
was, man. But both defenses made that game.
Yeah.
So I mean, you gotta hand it to the defense. In fact, I think the most valuable player should have been the defense.
Either that or New England's punter.
Yeah,
Dude, I was reading a lot of stuff. Like, he stuck it like within the 10, like all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, the Rams didn't have a chance.
and it was crazy because they would land like perfectly flat and just go nowhere. They would just like hit the ground and then spin around.
Like
and
the ball was deflated or
almost
something.
like the ball was deflated. Yes.
We got to look into that. Somehow, as it goes up in the air, it comes right down and just goes, boom. He must have kicked it really hard.
It's so hard he flattened the ball.
But yeah, I was watching the next day on ESPN, and I think one of the guys there was the same way. He was like, I don't know. Edelman had a great game. He caught a lot of passes, but that kicker is what kept the defense, pumped up, because defense gets really pumped up when the other team's within the 10, and you get a chance to get a safety or a pick six, and you're so close.
Yeah.
So he kept that defense up. That's probably why the defense played so well. Is they had great field position, against the offense. They're like, oh crap,
kept them in the game.
Yeah.
And the Rams kicker did a pretty good job too. He had several that he kept within like the 10-yard line. He had one that he kicked out of bounds. Like, I think it went like 30 yards and went out of bounds.
Yeah.
But I mean, he did pretty good too. But I mean, you're right. The New England kicker really deserves a good chunk of it, and the defense. I mean, if they could just put like special teams on the MVP. Like, the whole special teams.
All you guys are all going to Disneyland, and they're going to be pissed because they're sending you all at once. That'd actually sum up the whole Super Bowl if they're like, who is the MVP of the year? The punter. Oh, it probably was one of the boringest ass Super Bowls in the history of Super Bowls. Obviously, right now, we just finished up last year. It's 2019. Around this time, everybody starts putting out their numbers. If they've, grown, if their sales are up, their sales are down. And I was looking at one, and it kind of didn't really blow my mind. But out of the companies, and they didn't kind of go with small craft beers, but some of the mid-sized craft breweries, and they threw some other ones in there. Founders, Firestone Walker, Elysium, Golden Road, and Cigar City all saw upside on sales.
Nice.
Which I was like, okay, Elysium, Golden Road, yeah, they're getting pushed by big beer. Founders, Two Hearted is one of my favorite beers, but I hardly ever drink it. I haven't had a Founder. Yeah.
You're thinking of Bell's.
Oh, is that Bell's?
Yeah.
I thought that was Founders.
Nope, that's Bell's.
Okay, well then never mind. I haven't taken a Founders beer in a long time. But Firestone
Bell's has Two Hearted. I think KBS. You're thinking like KBS.
Yeah, KBS.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, then what's Backwoods Bastard?
Backwoods is that one's
The Founders. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've seen some stuff online, and I think we get some Founders here, but not a lot. I've seen it around, but not by the ton. Firestone Walker, I think with their golden wheat that they came out with, the 803 or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's what really pushed them up because I saw that stuff flying off the shelves. That was one of my favorite beers of the summer. Cigar City, yeah, I think when they changed their labeling up, I saw that was getting pushed off the shelves. So the people that registered down years was Boston, New Belgium, Goose Island, Deschutes, Ballast Point, Boulevard, and Oscar Blues. So
Really, Oscar Blues?
Yeah.
You would think that Oscar Blues being associated with Cigar City, they would have had kind of a similar trend.
Yeah.
Because, they're moving into new markets and trying to expand. But, when Cigar City got introduced to Colorado, it went nuts in Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
So I think expanding that brand into new markets probably got people more excited about Cigar City than Oscar Blues.
And they were doing the Canarchy or whatever.
Canarchy, yeah.
Canarchy 12-pack. So they had Berlin, Oscar Blues, and Cigar City all in the same, case or 12-pack. So I thought that was really cool, but I just thought that was interesting. The two that were kind of had a slight upturn, and they said it was towards the end, was Sierra Nevada, Bells, and Stone. And I think Sierra Nevada, they're saying the big push that they did for the campfire fundraisers got them, everybody really was buying their beer because of all the support they wanted to give that. And truthfully, yeah, you want to because, even though you're buying their beer, that money is going to a good cause.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was definitely a good push for, for Sierra Nevada to have done that and expand and put that same recipe out there. It's great publicity for one.
Oh, yeah.
And it reminds people of, Sierra Nevada is here and don't forget about us because we make probably one of the best pale ales out there.
Oh, yeah.
But speaking of Sierra Nevada, they actually made their first ever acquisition.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they bought a brewery called Sufferfest. So now they are expanding into purchasing smaller breweries.
Nice.
And trying to expand their portfolio that way. So I think you're going to see the same way that Oscar Blues tried to move into kind of the East Coast and acquiring additional breweries. I think you're going to see the West Coast, maybe Sierra Nevada, start to pick up and, kind of bring other smaller breweries into the fold to keep. It keeps their portfolio growing.
Oh, yeah.
It keeps their market share kind of growing, and it offers new opportunities to, to have kind of their footprint change a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, especially when now brewers are figuring out, okay, if I buy this small to mid-sized brewery, and they have a canning line, yeah, that's great for me because you know what? Now I don't have to ship all my beer cross country. I could just brew it there and get that even farther out.
Yeah.
And just kind of work my way out.
Yeah.
So I'm amazed that they did that, but I'm glad they did. A whole bad part, you now see, we haven't called it the bubble burst, but I think I read another Denver brewery closing. I think it was Fermenta.
Fermentera.
Fermentera or something like that. Yeah. They closed their doors. I think they're closing their doors at the end of the month.
Yeah, I think they're gonna try to sell out of what beer they have, and then they're gonna close up after. I think it's slated for probably the end of February. Yeah.
Which gets me on that one where we lost Highway. They were talking about there was a company coming in and they're opening another brewery.
Well, yeah, which is kind of weird to me, especially in that location. If they're going to move into the same location.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in the exact same place.
I guess it kind of makes sense because now you don't have all of that extra expense of building out the brewery, modifying the building. All of that has been done. And maybe that's part of the deal with the landlord. Maybe the landlord forked out a lot of the money to make the modifications. And part of the deal was, well, if you leave, your equipment stays, and I'm bringing in another brewery.
Oh yeah, that's probably. And then he owns another brewery, and then he owns a brewery.
I've heard of landlords kind of doing that to where they will build out their space to accommodate a brewery under the conditions of, if you don't make it, then I get to keep, the equipment is mine, the space is mine, and I'm going to move in another brewery. And, I mean, it would make sense. It's not the best location.
I know. If beer doesn't sell there once, you think beer's going to sell there again?
Maybe it's, is it a new brewery, or is it a brewery just looking to expand and opening a new space?
I really don't know. They really kind of gave vague details that they're looking, the person who's coming in was going to keep, same a brewery. So it didn't sound like it was, Oscar Blues going, oh, hey, that's a good location. We like that location. We're going to move in right there.
It's not a good location.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't know if there were other circumstances. I still haven't heard all the details. I think that location was a big piece of what got them in. I hope that it's successful. I really do. I never want to see a brewery come in and fail, but I think that's a risky maneuver right there.
Oh, yeah.
You were talking a little bit about Cigar City rebranding.
Yeah.
And Green Flash, they've kind of been in the process of rebranding as well.
Yeah.
They've changed their labels. They've gone to cans, and they're really rebranding. And their new CEO just so happens to be an ex-AB InBev CEO, has come in, and he actually already, since they've started talking about the rebranding and have made some changes in the company by closing down some of their expanded breweries, it's already making a turn for the better for that company, and they see a future growth happening this year after having such a rough 2018. So, it's funny how just a simple thing like bringing in some new blood and rebranding can hopefully turn a company around. I love Green Flash. Their IPAs are some of the best West Coast IPAs out there, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember when I kind of had my first one, and I just remember it just being a great, solid West Coast IPA, and that was what they were known for. They were just, and so anytime we saw like a different Green Flash, and what got excited was, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, they did a tap takeover at Falling Rock, and I was like, you know what, I want to go to that one. So I go, and guess what? Out of the 8 taps that they had, 7 of them were sours, and there was one IPA. I was like, you son of a bitches, but it was a really, really good IPA, and I drank the shit out of it. But I was pretty upset that I was like, yeah, I get to go and try all these different West Coast IPAs, and yeah, this is going to be awesome. I get there, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, guys, come on, you guys are known. It's like, yeah, but we know that people in Colorado like their sours. That's false. Every time totally false. We buy that shit so we could trade it online for twice what it's worth.
You've gotten bad information, sir.
Yeah, I don't know who told you that, but show me where he's at so I can kick his ass.
Hey there, bearded beer geeks. Does your beard need a little TLC? Is it out of control and itchy? Then you need to oil that sucker up with beard oil from Beerds by Nick. Spelled B-E-E-R-D-S, Beerds by Nick is made with all natural ingredients like argan, jojoba, sweet almond, avocado, and vitamin E oils. Choose from scents like Good Morning Wood, Good Night Beard, and Invigo Great. All with great aromas that the ladies will love. Created by a brewer of beer right here in northern Colorado, every batch is handmade to order and ships worldwide. Visit facebook.com/beardsbynick to place your order today. While you're there, check out the new Beard Balm and handcrafted bourbon barrel stave bottle openers, the official bottle opener of the Hopheads Guide podcast. For a limited time, get 10% off your order by using promo code GALAXYHOPS at checkout. Go to facebook.com/beardsbynick or visit www.hopheadsguide.com/deals and get oiled up. Stout month is all about.
Oh yeah. Sorry, my mouth full of beer.
So it's Stout month isn't about mouths full of pizza. It's about good beers. But so I didn't open a 2019. I opened a 2017.
Oh.
But yeah, this is the 2017 version of Outlaw. We went the other day and got to taste the 2019 and its multiple variants. And I got to say, I was shocked at how good the Grand Marnier was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was, I think we were both kind of like, wait, there's what in this? Well, you did what?
Yeah. I mean, when I read about it, when they published that they were going to do 2 variants, I was really excited because I've never really had any variants of Outlaw. So I was excited for that alone, but then when they said they were doing vanilla, I was like, perfect. That beer is already a vanilla bomb.
Yeah.
Vanilla's just going to make it better. And we have a version that has Grand Marnier and orange zest. And I was like, wait, what?
That's kind of 2 things you don't really do in a stout, but okay, it's your beer.
It's your thing. You do what you want to do.
You got samples, right?
Yeah.
Before I buy, I can sample. That's the only one thing I get worried about when you go get a beer. That's like a limited release, and they don't have samples of it.
Yeah. It was good. I was glad that they were pouring bottles of it, and it was really good.
Well, yeah, I thought it really stood out amongst the 3. This is actually tastes a ton different than the one that they had at the brewery. And they're popping bottles. So that kind of throws me off because I was like, the one they gave you a small sample was probably a 1 ounce pour of the 2017.
2017, yeah.
And then they had the 2019 and then the orange and the vanilla of the 2019. When I tasted the 2017, I was like, whoa, I need to drink my 2017s right now. Because they taste like they're starting to go on that downturn. This one does not taste like it's going on that downturn.
So I opened a bottle up with my brother-in-law Corey the other day, and it was really boozy.
Okay.
It was really, really, really boozy, and I was like, ooh, it might be time to open these up. And then I tasted the one at City Star, and it was very similar, and that's when I thought, okay, I've got 6 bottles left. I need to start. I need to start cracking these open.
Whoops.
But you're right. This one has a little bit. It's not quite as boozy as what we tasted at the brewery. It's a little more oaky.
Oh yeah.
It's got a little bit more of that vanilla tinge to it. So if you're out there and you're sitting on some Outlaw bottles, you might consider starting to open them because I think they're hit and miss right now.
Yeah. I'd say just go ahead and open them. Don't wait for the next polar vortex.
But also go get the new variant because it was awesome. I thought it was fantastic. And if they have any of the vanilla left, don't buy any of that. Save it for me.
I was like, wait, that was pretty good too. Suckers. Who's drinking vanilla now?
The vanilla variant was excellent. The vanilla variant to me took Outlaw, which was already a really good barrel-aged stout and just nudged it up to that next level.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, hands down, Outlaw has consistently been one of my favorite barrel-aged stouts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, since that 2015 that we first got, that was Breckenridge barrels, to the 2017, which I always thought the 2017 tasted a little bit boozier right from the beginning. That when I had the one and it still had that booziness, I was like, oh, crap, it never dropped out. It never really settled down.
Yeah.
But then having this, now I'm like, oh, wait, there is hope. I could go and open one of my bottles. So I was going to try to do, a 2017, 2019.
And this is basically room temp, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I pulled it pretty much straight off the shelf. I threw it in the fridge for, 15 minutes before you got here. So,
okay.
I think maybe that might have some effect on it. But the one that we drank 2 weeks ago with my brother-in-law, that one was cellar temp as well. So I don't think temperature really is playing too much into that.
Okay. So I'm with you. And there's one thing I wanted to bring up at our last recording. I don't think I got a chance because Nico couldn't shut up.
Nico, he talks too much.
No, so we have our 50th episode coming up here really soon.
Yeah, but this is number 49.
This is number 49, and so we're going to number 50 here. Should be a meme. I don't know what memes are. I think he works at Wiley Roots. So I was going to put up 2 bottles and let the coin decide. One was from, I think, probably one of our best beer shorts that we ever did, the Trophy Hunt beer short. I have my second bottle. It's been in the fridge.
I'm so glad you always win.
And to go against it, since it's 50th, I thought putting up a $50 bottle of beer. So I'll bring the vanilla Mini Noche that I got in replacement of the bad one they gave me. And we'll do a flip. And whatever, loses or whatever wins or however we do it, we will drink that beer for the 50th.
Okay, I'm down. And I don't have to put anything up.
You don't have to put anything. These are
all
both
I got to do is
Yep.
participate.
Yep.
I'm in. I love it. I think that's a fantastic idea.
You just have to drink the beer.
I'm in. I think it's great.
I want to do something special for the 50th. You get a host. Well, I don't have any place to put a studio, but you host all the time. So I thought I'll put up 2 bottles, and I put that Trophy Hut in there, and I was going to drink it for New Year's Eve.
Oh, yeah.
And then I ended up working New Year's Day, so I was like, I'm not drinking a fucking 13% alcohol fucking beer by myself. Actually, I think it's like 15.2. And then the vanilla I never took the chance of cellaring that. It just, once I got my replacement bottle, it went straight into the refrigerator, and it's been there ever since.
Yeah. You don't want to risk it.
Oh, yeah. So I was like, you know what? Head to head, we'll throw them up there, and we'll let the coin decide what we drink for our 50th, because we let the coin decide a lot of stuff on this podcast.
We do. The coin of destiny has made a lot of our decisions in our life in general.
Oh, yeah. I think people are like, these guys are retarded. They should just not freaking just make up your mind.
Well, I'm excited about the 50th, man. It may not seem like a big deal, but for me, it's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
We've done 50 episodes in a little over 2 years.
Yep. That's
a pretty good clip for us, and I don't think we ever expected to be at 50 episodes that quickly.
Yeah, I think I was at hopes maybe doing like 15 episodes a year, so we'd probably be just barely getting to 30 right now.
Yeah. And now if you want to count overall posts, we're sitting at like 82 right now.
Well, yeah, but we drink a lot of beer shorts
and the beer battles and things like that. So, that's that you got to factor that in there too. But, what I want to do for our 50th is I want to invite some of the guys back that have been part of it thus far. And anybody that can show up, we're just going to let them be on the mics. If we end up with like 12 guys on the mics, then by God, that's the way it works out. But we still need to know what kind of topics we're going to bring up. I mean, we've kind of changed the format. We're not like a how-to podcast anymore. But it would be cool if some of our listeners gave us some suggestions about what they would like to hear us talk about, whether it's our favorite episodes or
Our opinions
favorite
about
guests.
Our opinions about certain beers.
Our opinions about certain beers. So, go on Facebook and go to the Hopheads Guide and, post up some suggestions, or send us a email at podcast@hopheadsguide.com. And my wife is calling me. All right, so what was I talking about? So shoot us an email or a message on Facebook, or tweet us at Hopheads Guide. What is my tweeter?
Your tweeter?
My tweeter is at Hopheads Guide. Or, however you want to get hold of us.
If you know us on Untappd,
give us some ideas, because we want to let the listeners kind of decide and drive that 50th episode. I don't know who exactly we're going to have join us. Hopefully we have Nico and Blake. Maybe Wade will come back. Maybe Justin will come back. We may even invite the 2 other podcasters that we had on. The other guys.
The Mexican dude and the white guy?
Those guys. So we're just going to invite everybody that's kind of been part of it and see what kind of shit show it turns into.
Sounds like fun.
I think it'll be great. I'm excited for it.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we ask Nick, who seems to pay for all this.
Nah.
No?
Nah. He's not invited.
1 bottle of beard oil at a time.
He's just our sponsor. We don't have to invite him on every show. Unless he brings beard oil.
Until I run out of beard oil. Well, they don't have anything coming up in the next month, except for the 50th.
I'm going to Mexico.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
I hope I get to go to some craft breweries while I'm in Mexico.
Juan's Craft Brewery.
So I think in Playa del Carmen there's at least a couple.
Oh, really?
And I know Cancun has a couple, but I'm not going to go that far. I'm literally staying like 15 minutes outside of Playa del Carmen.
Okay.
So I don't plan on like going all the way back up to Cancun. And I think Cozumel has one too. Okay. So I might take the ferry across to Cozumel and see. But if I can find them, I'm going to try them. Just because I want to see what craft beer is doing in Mexico.
Like different types. Yeah. Watch, they have a really great hazy IPA.
I think that'd be awesome if they did, dude. Like if they had like an off-the-charts hazy IPA that I've never tasted anything like before.
Motherfuckers, don't build a wall. Get this shit up here.
Build a wall, but put a little fridge in between.
Somebody could put a hole in that wall for you. Mexicans do it all the time.
Well, pretty soon WeldWorks is probably going to end up buying Mexico anyway.
Well, they own fucking all Greeley. That's like
that's little Mexico.
That's like 10% of Mexico right there. If you did not know.
I'm pretty eager to go to Mexico. I mean, not only for some warm weather while we're getting all this cold weather right now, but I also just I want to see what is going on with beer down there and see if I'm going to have to drink Coronas the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to put anything on Coronas. It's still a good, backfall of having a decent beer in hot weather. You could be drinking something else like something with corn syrup in it.
Yeah,
I think actually Corona has corn syrup in it.
It probably does. Corona Light, I guarantee you.
It probably has a ton of corn syrup in it. Other than that, actually, I don't know if this is beer news, but I want to give a big word up to my comic book guy. So if you are a fan of comic books and read them like I do, the DC just released a limited series called Batman Damned. And what is making it such a popular series is, one, it's not the regular size comic book. It's like a magazine size comic book. And 2, it's like a rated R comic book because it shows Batman's junk in it.
Nice.
But they only did one print of this, so there's unlimited copies.
Ooh.
Why I'm saying word up to my comic book guy. 1, I spent a lot of money and I probably pay his rent. 2, he held on to a copy of this
for you.
Yeah, for me. That's now awesome. on eBay, they're going for $500 for the issue, for that one issue.
Nice.
And he was just like, well, I put it in your box because I thought you would like it. And I've totally spaced it out. I've been busy at work. He's closed on Mondays. That's my only day off. So I haven't had a chance to get over there. Finally get a chance to go over there. And he's like, oh, yeah, brings out my big book stack of copies. And I'm like, oh, yeah, dude, I was going to call you and see if you held a Batman Damned. He goes, oh, right here. I'm like, sweet. And he's like, I thought you'd like it. It's my last copy. And he goes, one guy heard you had it and he offered me $100 for it, but I said no. He goes, because you're that good of a customer to me. I was like,
well, you need to give him a shout out. What's the name of the comic book store?
So it's Heroes and Horrors comic book store it's Heroes and Horrors board games technically in Windsor, Colorado. The guy is a great guy. And yeah, dude, I try to lead people in there. It's, they offer, they have everything from Dungeons and Dragons. They do little nightly magic, card games for the people that are into that. And he has 2 rooms, and you could hear, like, man, you could hear these kids battle each other and get pissed off. Like one time I was in there just kind of searching for comic books, seeing what's new, and a kid comes running out and he's like, "Oh, do you have this, this, is this?" And he starts pulling up his books with all these cards. He's like, "I'll take that." And he runs back in and goes, "Yeah, look at that, guys!"
Like he literally bought it and then went back.
Bought it and played it, and a guy went and played a different card and beat him and took that card away from him. He paid like $5 for that card just to lose it within like minutes of buying it. And he was so pissed off.
Nerd disappointment at its best.
But he offers he has used books, so my wife likes going in there because he has a whole bunch of used books, kids books. So if your kid's starting to get into comic books, it's always a great place to go because he has a great selection of just, the Ninja Turtles and the younger Marvel stuff that they're trying to get younger kids into comic books. But then he has all the Walking Deads and the more adult comic books you want to read, and then the annual books. So if you are just tired of being like a single comic book at a time, go and buy an annual. It's like 4 or 5 comic books in one book.
Yeah.
So I love buying those every once in a while. But the guy is a great guy. He has a great shop, used video games, so. And
he also does a board game night at High Hops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think there's one coming up like next week.
Yeah, I think he does them almost weekly or on every other Tuesday.
Yeah, and he brings his own. He basically just brings a huge selection of games, and you get to pick from them and play them and try out new games and stuff. I thought about going, and then I talked to one of the guys over there, and he's like, "Yeah, some of the games are a little out there.
Yeah.
Like they're not like Chutes and Ladders or Monopoly. It's much different than that." And I was like, "Yeah, it's probably not for me then."
Well, actually, there's a huge resurgence or either popularity that's growing around Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
Because of Big Bang Theory.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny where I remember when I was a kid, I had a couple friends into that, and they wanted me to get invited over to play Dungeons and Dragons. I thought that was cool. I happened to mention it to my mom, and my mom, being the Catholic mother she is, and read in the Catholic newsletter that Dungeons and Dragons is a game of Satan. Told me I could not go play Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, you probably lucked out on that.
Yeah.
I've never played, but it does. I don't even understand the game.
It is, but pretty.
There used to be a group of kids that played in the library at school during lunchtime and like off periods, and I never understood what was going on at all. Like it just seemed like this very detailed game that required a lot of imagination that I didn't have. Like there's a lot of imagination in the game, period. So it seemed like they had to be thinking like on a whole nother level of imagination that I just don't have.
Well, I'm letting you know, if we both played that when we were kids, right now we wouldn't have a coin of destiny. We would have a die of destiny.
A die of destiny.
And it wouldn't be just a 6-sided die. It would be like an 18-sided die. And we'd be like, well, we will drink this stout if we roll a 1 or an 8, and we'll drink this IPA if we roll a 9 through a blah, 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 and we will power up if we get a 15. 15, yay! But it would be probably the worst podcast ever.
Yeah, and it also wouldn't be my wife calling me either.
We'd be doing this in your basement at your mom's house.
It'd be my mom calling me. You guys need to keep it down.
Mom!
You're being way too loud. You guys want some mashed potatoes?
Podcast.
Mom, Meatloaf!
Why up the meatloaf, Mom? But I every time I see people play, they seem like they're having a really great time. But I also know they're veteran, Dungeons and Dragon players, and
Wait, there's veteran.
oh yeah,
Dungeons
there's
Dragons
people
players?
that they've done it so long they built their character into like this massive person. And
Do they have a Dungeons and Dragons Veterans Day?
That would be weird. Like the characters are no longer with us.
Today we honor
Bobby One Tooth and One Leg.
Bobby One Tooth.
I don't know what they named the orc from whatever.
Mork from Orc.
Yeah. But at one point they did have, and I tried to find it because I thought it would be really good for the podcast. Is they actually Marvel released a Deadpool set of dice for Dungeons and Dragons. So I was like, you know what? I kind of want to see if he still had some and buy a set and maybe just use one. If it end up being a night where we had, like last episode, we had so many beers.
Yeah.
We could easily go, okay, if it rolls between this and this, we had this beer. We had multiple, boop, okay, we're drinking this,
Yeah.
So we didn't have to, who brought, okay, I'm going to have one of those, it would, the die would tell us, and it would be a little bit cooler because it would be a Deadpool die.
I'd be okay with that if it was Deadpool, because I love Deadpool.
Oh, yeah.
And, if it was like 8-sided, I would just have 8 beers and we'll just pick whatever we want. Like,
the die of destiny.
We number them 1 through 8. We roll the die of destiny. And
I think the coin would come and kill you in your sleep. Should I kill you or should I not? Flip for it. No, coin, no. That'd be a really weird dream.
They just find me with a wooden token clogged in my throat.
You wake up from that dream and the bottle of freaking Outlaw still in your hand. You're like, yeah, that 2017 went bad.
That was the problem.
My 2017 Outlaw tried to kill me.
All right, Hotbeds and Beer Geeks, thanks for joining us again. And make sure that you go and rate us on whatever your favorite podcast service is. We're on pretty much all of them now.
Except ratebeer.com.
Except ratebeer.com. We've been banned from the Rate Beer. And while you're at it, check out our sponsor, Beards by Nick. That's beardsbynick.squarespace.com. Spelled Beerds.
Yes, it is.
Beards by Nick. And you can also become a patron. Click on the link in our show notes or go to patron.com/The Hotbeds Guide and become a patron. Supporters of the podcast get access to limited episodes, episodes of Brownie's beers, which are always exciting and titillating.
Oh, yeah. I'm actually going to, got everything down, going to come out with some more. And so you're going to look forward to those. I'm actually going to tie in with some of my comic book collection because it's in the room that I have all my comic books in.
That's a good idea.
So
I like that idea.
I'm going to let you know what I'm reading and what I'm drinking.
That's a good idea. I like that. That's very original. You also get exclusive access to the Hotbeds and Beer Geeks Facebook page, along with all kinds of great t-shirt designs and other things and stuff.
Yep, that's all we go for is things and stuff.
Follow us on all the social media outlets.
The Twitter,
the Instagram, the Facebook, all of those things.
Is there anything more after that? Oh, yeah, the Instagram.
MySpace.
Yeah.
Still MySpace.
There's still a MySpace?
I don't know. There might be. LinkedIn. I don't know if we're on LinkedIn.
Can we be on LinkedIn?
Yeah, let's do LinkedIn.
I don't know if we have the resume for LinkedIn.
We'll build
It'd
one.
be really weird if we got offered a job if we put our resume on LinkedIn through the podcast.
I say we make up a resume and put it on LinkedIn.
You guys sound awesome for this engineering job. You're hired. And then we just both show up for the interview like, oh, yeah, we thought it was one guy.
Yeah. No,
it's both of us. You're hiring both of us.
And you worked on the Mars rover? Not exactly.
I ate a Mars bar before I came over here. Does that count?
A Land Rover.
In a Land Rover.
Mars rover. It works.
You own a Land Rover? No, our Uber driver had a Land Rover. It was awesome. Usually I get downgraded to the Festiva.